Mom gave my saved dress to cousin, which ruined it. It's just fabric, she scoffed. This cruel act sealed her fate. You won't see my daughter. Her desperate pleas went unheard. They say a mother's love is unconditional. But what if that love comes with a price, and that price is your dreams? I poured 3 years of my life, every spare dollar, into buying the perfect wedding dress, only for my own mother to give it away to my cousin, Chloe. And that was just the opening act. Back then, I was 24, a receptionist at a veterinary clinic, barely making ends meet. My apartment was tiny, a shoebox in a city that always felt too big. But I had a secret, a vision that kept me going, the dress. I'd seen it in a bridal magazine when I was 19, a vintage-style gown with delicate lace sleeves and a cathedral train. It was $4,000, an astronomical sum for me, but I ripped out that page and kept it in my nightstand, a silent promise to myself. For 3 long years, $50 from every paycheck went into that dress fund. It was agonizingly slow, but eventually, gloriously, I had enough. 8 months before my wedding, I bought it. Standing in that bridal shop, the heavy silk and lace falling perfectly around me, I burst into tears. I'd never felt so utterly beautiful. The woman helping me smiled, calling me a princess. I believed her. I took my precious dress home, not to my cramped apartment, but to my childhood bedroom at my mother's house. She had a huge closet. It felt safer there. My mother, with a tear in her eye, promised to keep it safe, saying she was honored I trusted her. I thought I could trust her. For months after my engagement, my cousin Chloe got engaged. Her wedding was scheduled for 2 weeks before mine. Chloe was Aunt Eleanor's daughter, the family's golden child. Thin, beautiful, working in marketing downtown, she was everything my mother wished I was. I constantly heard about Chloe's nice apartment, her handsome fiancé, her soaring career. Why can't you be more like Chloe? My mother would sigh at family gatherings. Why are you wasting your life answering phones when she's climbing the corporate ladder? I learned to tune her out. Fighting never changed a thing. Then, 3 weeks before Chloe's wedding, my mother called. Her voice was uncharacteristically nervous. She asked if I was sitting down. I wasn't, but I told her to just tell me. She said Chloe had a problem. Her online-ordered wedding dress arrived damaged, irreparable in time. Chloe was devastated. My mother then dropped the bombshell. And you two are the same size. My blood ran cold. Then she said it. I gave Chloe her dress. I asked her to repeat herself. She did. She said she gave Chloe my wedding dress because Chloe needed it more. She reasoned that my wedding was still 2 weeks after Chloe's, so I had plenty of time to figure something out. She promised Chloe would return it right after. I should be happy to help my cousin during such a stressful time, she insisted. I couldn't speak. I stood in my kitchen, phone glued to my ear, trying to comprehend the betrayal. Did you even ask me? I finally choked out. She hadn't. No time, she said. Chloe was crying. She needed an immediate solution. She knew I'd say yes anyway, she added, because that's the kind of person I am. Then she flipped it on me. I was being selfish for even questioning it. I saved for 3 years for that dress. I screamed, the words burning my throat. It was the most expensive thing I've ever owned. Chloe has no right to wear it before I do. Get it back now. It's too late, she said, her voice dismissive. Chloe had already taken it to be altered. The waist was being taken in, the hem adjusted. Minor changes, she claimed. You probably won't even notice. I hung up on her. My next call was to Chloe. I demanded she stop the alterations and return my dress. Chloe laughed. An actual laugh. She said my mother already gave her permission, that the dress was technically a gift now. She sneered, you're being petty and jealous. My wedding's more important anyway. I'm marrying a successful lawyer, and you're marrying a mechanic. You should be honored I even want to wear something of yours. The receiver felt hot in my hand. I called the seamstress, pleading with her to stop. Her hands were tied, she explained. Chloe was the customer. Chloe paid her. 2 days later, the alterations were complete. Chloe sent me a photo. Her in my dress. It looks better on me than it ever would on you, her message read. The fitted waist really shows off my figure. You should probably find something more forgiving for your body type. I didn't respond. I didn't attend her wedding. My mother called me ungrateful. Aunt Eleanor said I was trying to ruin Chloe's special day. The whole family, of course, sided with Chloe. She was the favorite. I was just the receptionist who answered phones. I bought a new dress for my wedding. It was simple, straight skirt, short sleeves, $800. It looked nice, but it didn't make me cry. The saleswoman said I looked lovely. I thanked her, paid, and took it home. My wedding day arrived 2 weeks after Chloe's. The weather was perfect, the flowers beautiful. My husband's eyes lit up when he saw me walking down the aisle. People told me I looked stunning, that the dress was perfect, that I was glowing. I smiled, I thanked them, but every compliment was a hollow echo. Every time I thought of that dress, with its lace sleeves and cathedral train, the one I'd saved 3 years for. The one that was supposed to make me feel like a princess. During the reception, my husband squeezed my hand, leaning in. "Are you okay?" he whispered. I nodded, feigning fine. He told me we were starting our life together, and that's what mattered. I kissed him, and I meant it, but a part of me was still fixated on that dress, hanging in Chloe's closet. 3 weeks later, my mother called, asking to visit. I told her she wasn't welcome in my home. A long silence, then, "Are you still upset about that dress situation? Your wedding went fine anyway. You looked beautiful in the dress you wore. You need to move on and stop being dramatic." I hung up. She called back immediately. I didn't answer. She called 3 more times that afternoon. I blocked her number. That evening, she started calling my husband's phone. He answered the first time, and she demanded he talk sense into me. He told her I was making my own choices and hung up. She called him 6 more times. He blocked her too. 2 days later, she showed up at the clinic during my shift. I was checking in a client with a sick cat when I saw her, striding to the front desk. "We need to talk right now," she declared. I told her I was working, she needed to leave. Her voice rose, "You can't avoid me forever. I'm your mother, you owe me respect." The client stared. The cat yelled. My boss emerged. I shook my head at him. He politely asked my mother to leave. She refused, claiming her right to be there. My boss threatened to call the police. She finally left, but not before standing in the parking lot for 20 minutes, staring at the building. I watched her until she drove away. That night, an email from Aunt Eleanor landed in my inbox. "We need to talk about this family." I opened it, even though I knew I shouldn't. She wrote that I was tearing the family apart over a piece of fabric. Chloe was devastated. I was holding a grudge. Everyone was worried about my mother because I was causing her so much stress. I needed to grow up, forgive, and forget. At the bottom, a photo, Chloe in my wedding dress. Radiant, smiling like she owned the world. The fitted waist, the perfect hem. I stared at it, then closed the email and deleted it. The next day, I took my lunch break in the back room. I sat on the old couch, sandwich forgotten. All I saw was Chloe's photo. All I heard was my mother's voice. Tears started silently. My coworker, Sophia, came in. She sat beside me patiently. I told her everything. About the 3 years of saving, my mother giving it away, the alterations, Chloe's wedding, the photo. Sophia was shocked. "My sister would never," she said, shaking her head. "What your mother did was wrong. It was cruel. You have every right to be upset." Hearing those words, something inside me relaxed. I'd started to believe I was being dramatic, like my mother said. But Sophia made my feelings real. Valid. A few days later, Sophia invited my husband and me to Sunday dinner at her dad David's house. "Just us and Olivia," she said, casual and relaxed. We went. David lived in a small house with a big backyard and a dog named Cooper. He hugged me like he'd known me forever. Sophia's sister, Olivia, was already there, helping set the table. She smiled, introduced herself, asked about our apartment, my husband's auto shop job. At dinner, David asked about the clinic. He listened. He asked follow-up questions. No one compared me to anyone. No one asked why I wasn't more successful. During dessert, David told a story about teaching Sophia and Olivia to ride bikes. Everyone laughed. I watched them, joking, teasing, and felt an ache in my chest. This was what family was supposed to feel like. This was what I'd been missing. For months after my wedding, I missed my period. 3 days later, a positive pregnancy test. 2 more confirmed it. I sat on the bathroom floor, pure joy rushing through me. Then dread, cold and sharp behind it. A baby. My mother would find out. She'd use it as an excuse to re-enter my life, demand to see her grandchild, act like nothing happened, expect forgiveness. Joy and dread twisted into a nauseating knot. That night, I told my husband. He spun me around, kissed me, then saw my face. What's wrong? I told him I was terrified my mother would use our baby to force her way back in. He sat me down, taking my hands. We won't let that happen, he said, his voice firm. Any grandmother who would hurt you that badly doesn't deserve to know our daughter. Hearing him say it made me feel less alone. We agreed. My mother would not have access to our child. We would protect our baby from the kind of treatment I grew up with. We would build our own family with people who truly cared. 6 weeks later, my mother found out. A cousin saw my husband buying baby supplies. My mother called his phone from an unknown number. He answered. She was crying. I hear you're pregnant. I have a right to know my grandchild. You're being cruel, vindictive. I'm your mother. Nothing should come between a mother and daughter. My husband told her she caused the situation herself, that she made her choices and had to live with the consequences. She started yelling. He hung up, blocked the new number. 2 days later, my husband and I wrote her a letter. For over an hour at our kitchen table, we crafted it. I explained her lack of respect, her giving away my dress, defending Chloe, dismissing my feelings, harassing me at work. I wrote that I would not expose my daughter to someone who treats people that way. This wasn't punishment or revenge, but protection. This was my final communication. I signed it, mailed it, blocked her email, and every number she'd ever used. The relief was immediate, overwhelming. My shoulders relaxed, my jaw unclenched. I felt lighter than I had in months. That feeling confirmed I'd made the right choice. 3 days later, my husband's phone rang, another unrecognized number. He answered while we were eating. I watched his face change. He put it on speaker. Aunt Eleanor's voice filled our kitchen. My mother was heartbroken, sleepless, blood pressure up. Her doctor said stress was making her sick. You're causing all of this, Aunt Eleanor accused, by being stubborn and refusing to forgive. Family is supposed to stick together. Your mother made one mistake, and you're punishing her forever. My husband interrupted. My mother caused this situation herself when she gave away my wife's dress. She never apologized or took responsibility. We are protecting our family, and that is final. Aunt Eleanor started to argue, but he hung up. He blocked the number. Then, he changed his phone number entirely, texting it to his boss and friends. I'm done letting your family harass us, he told me. A fresh wave of relief washed over me. 2 days after that, a notification popped up. I'd been added to a group chat called Family Discussion. I opened it. 23 people, cousins, aunts, uncles, people I hadn't spoken to in ages. Messages were flowing. My cousin Lisa wrote I was being unreasonable. My uncle said my mother was devastated, and I needed to be the bigger person. Another cousin preached about holding grudges and how unhealthy it was, urging me to forgive for my own peace of mind. Aunt Eleanor piped up again, mentioning my mother's health problems due to the stress I was causing. Another message, punishing her over a dress? Petty when you really think about it. More followed. Get over yourself. Family's more important than material things. The messages kept coming, dozens of them. Every single person thought I was wrong. Every single person thought I should forgive and move on. Not one mentioned what my mother actually did. Not one talked about the 3 years I saved, or the dress being altered, or Chloe's cruel words. They only talked about how I was tearing the family apart. I realized someone must have added me by accident. This chat was created to talk about me behind my back. I sat on the couch, my hands shaking, reading every single message. I wanted to see exactly what they thought. How they justified it. The more I read, the angrier I got. But underneath the anger was something else: strength. Seeing their words in black and white made me realize I was right to cut them off. These people didn't care about me. They cared about keeping the peace, making my mother feel better, maintaining the family image. They didn't care that I was hurt. I took screenshots of the entire conversation. Every message. I created a folder on my phone, labeled it "Why We Made the Right Choice." I put all the screenshots there. I knew there'd be moments of doubt, nights when I wondered if I was too harsh. When those moments came, I could open that folder and remember exactly why I made this decision. I left the group chat without a word. Let them wonder if I saw their messages. Let them feel uncomfortable. 6 weeks later, Sophia asked what I was doing the following Saturday. I had no plans. She wanted to throw me a baby shower. I already talked to Olivia and David and some people from work, she said. Everyone wants to celebrate the baby with you. I started to cry right there in the break room. Sophia hugged me. You deserve to be celebrated, she whispered. The shower was at Sophia's apartment. Pink balloons, streamers. A cake that read, "Welcome, baby girl." Olivia brought her camera. David showed up with a huge stuffed elephant. My coworkers came with pastel-wrapped gifts. About 15 people were there. Every single one of them genuinely cared. No one mentioned my mother. No one asked when I'd reconcile. No one suggested I was too harsh. They just celebrated. Eating cake, playing silly games, helping me open presents, tiny clothes, blankets, bottles, diapers. David said he was excited to meet my daughter. Olivia offered free newborn photos. Sophia gave me a journal for milestones. I looked around the room at these people who chose to be in my life. Not related by blood, but more family than my actual family ever was. I felt overwhelming gratitude. I thought I might cry again. This was what family was supposed to feel like. My daughter was born on a Tuesday morning in April. Labor was long, painful, but the moment they placed her in my arms, everything else vanished. She was perfect. Tiny fingers, tiny toes, a small round face. Dark hair like mine. She opened her eyes and looked at me, and something shifted in my chest. I knew, with absolute certainty, I would never let my mother hurt this baby the way she hurt me. I would protect my daughter from toxic people, cruel words, and favoritism. I would make sure she grew up knowing she was valued and loved. My husband stood by the bed, tears in his eyes, snapping a photo. Later, seeing that photo, I barely recognized myself. I looked fierce, protective, completely sure of every choice I'd made. We named her Maya. We spent 2 days in the hospital. Nurses came and went. My husband slept in a chair. Sophia and Olivia visited, bringing flowers. David held Maya, called her beautiful. Everything felt peaceful. Then, on the second day, a nurse came in, looking uncomfortable. A woman at the nurse's station, she said, claiming to be Maya's grandmother, wanted to see me. My heart pounded. My husband stood immediately. He told the nurse we had no approved visitors. He walked out. I held Maya close. Voices in the hallway. My husband's firm, steady. My mother's high and pleading. Crying. Just 1 minute. I have a right to meet the baby. My husband's voice hardened. You have no rights here. Leave or I call security. Now. I heard her sob, then footsteps receding. My husband returned, jaw tight. She's gone, he said. Made sure she got on the elevator. Nurses won't let her back up. I nodded, holding Maya tighter. My hands were shaking. He sat beside us, wrapping his arms around us both. We're safe, he murmured. I'll always protect you. 2 weeks after we brought Maya home, I was scrolling Facebook while nursing her. A post from my mother. Long, detailed. She was denied access to her only grandchild. She raised me, sacrificed for me, and this was how I repaid her. She wrote about the pain of being cut off from family, grandparents' rights, how cruel it was to keep a grandmother from a baby. Dozens of comments already. Aunt Eleanor, heartbreaking. Cousins, crying emojis, support. Strangers, sorry you're going through this. Then I saw a comment from Olivia. There are 2 sides to every story, she wrote. Sometimes people make choices to protect their children. Boundaries are healthy. Several coworkers agreed. One wrote I was a good mother making hard choices. Another said my mother should respect my decisions. Tears welled, but they weren't sad tears. I had people on my side. People who saw through my mother's performance and understood. I wasn't alone. 6 months passed. Maya grew, changed every day. Smiling, laughing, reaching for toys. My husband and I settled into a routine. Sophia and Olivia visited often. David came for dinner, playing with Maya on the floor. Life felt full and happy. Then one afternoon, Sophia called, her voice hesitant. She'd heard something through a mutual friend. Chloe's husband had moved out. They were separating. Apparently, he'd been unhappy for a long time, but Chloe never saw it coming. I sat on my couch, holding the phone. A strange satisfaction spread through my chest. Chloe's perfect life wasn't so perfect after all. Her successful lawyer husband gone. Her ideal marriage crumbling. I knew I shouldn't feel happy about someone else's pain, but I did feel a grim satisfaction. Chloe treated me like I was less than her. She wore my dress, mocked me, acted like her life was superior. Now her life was collapsing. I didn't cause it. I had nothing to do with it. But I wasn't sorry it happened. A month later, a card arrived. My mother's handwriting. I almost threw it away, but something made me open it. Flowers on the front. Inside, she wrote about being diagnosed with high blood pressure. Her doctor, she wrote, said stress was making it worse. She was on medication now. She hoped I was happy. The message was clear. She was sick, and it was my fault. She was suffering because of my choices. I was supposed to feel guilty to reach out. I stood in my kitchen, holding the card. Maya was napping. My husband was at work. I read it 3 times. Then I walked to the trash can and threw it away. I didn't respond. I didn't call. I didn't feel guilty. My mother made her choices. I made mine. That night, after Maya was asleep, my husband and I sat at the computer. We worked on an email together for over an hour. I wrote that my mother chose to give away my wedding dress. She chose to defend Chloe and dismiss my feelings. She chose to harass me at work. She chose to create Facebook posts painting herself as a victim. I wrote that she never once apologized or took responsibility. These choices, I wrote, showed me who she was. This was not punishment. It was protection, for myself and for my daughter. Healthy relationships required respect, and she didn't respect me. This was my final communication. I would not respond to cards, calls, or messages. I would not engage with family members she sent to guilt me. I was done. My husband suggested a few changes, making it clear and firm. Then I sent it. I watched the email leave my outbox. My shoulders relaxed. I felt lighter. It was done. Sophia started coming by our house every Sunday after that. She brought groceries, held Maya while I folded laundry. Olivia came too, taking photos of Maya in different outfits. David showed up one weekend with tools and fixed our leaky faucet without us even asking. He sat on our living room floor, playing peekaboo with Maya, who giggled and grabbed at his glasses. I watched him make silly faces at my daughter and felt a warm, comforting peace settle in my chest. This was what family was supposed to look like. David became Maya's grandpa in every way that mattered. He showed up for her first steps, her first words. He brought her books, reading to her in his deep voice while she sat in his lap. Sophia and Olivia became her aunts. They spoiled her with toys and clothes, took her to the park, remembered her favorite foods and bedtime routines. They loved her without conditions or expectations. Maya grew up surrounded by people who chose to be there. When Maya turned 2, we planned a small party at our house. I made a cake, decorated the living room with balloons. David arrived early, carrying a giant stuffed elephant almost as big as Maya. She shrieked, hugged it, and dragged it around all day. Sophia brought homemade cupcakes with pink frosting. Olivia set up her camera, taking photos of Maya blowing out her candles. My husband lifted Maya so she could reach them, and she clapped her hands, laughing. I looked around the room at the people who showed up. For my daughter. Not one of them was related to us by blood. Not one of them had to be there. They came because they wanted to. They loved Maya because of who she was, not because of some family obligation. I didn't think about my mother once during the party. I didn't wish she was there. I didn't feel sad or guilty or angry. I just felt grateful for what we had built. A few weeks later, I was cleaning out the hall closet, looking for Maya's winter coat. I pulled down boxes and bags from the top shelf. A folded magazine page fluttered out, landing at my feet. I picked it up, unfolded it. The wedding dress. The one I saved for 3 years to buy, the one my mother gave away. I stared at the photo of the model in the lace sleeves and cathedral train. I remembered being 19, thinking that dress would make me special. Cutting out the page, hiding it in my nightstand. Every $50 deposit. The dress was never really about the dress itself, was it? It was about wanting my mother to see me as worthy. Wanting her to value me the way she valued Chloe. Wanting to be good enough. That dress couldn't have given me that. Nothing could, because my mother was never going to see me that way. I folded the magazine page and put it in the recycling bin. Maya called for me from her room, and I went to her. She was standing in her crib, holding her stuffed elephant. I picked her up, and she wrapped her arms around my neck. My daughter would never question whether she was worthy. She would never have to earn love or prove herself. She had parents who protected her, and a family who cherished her. I had zero regrets about the choices I made. Sometimes, I wondered if my mother thought about what she lost. If she regretted giving away my dress, or defending Chloe, or showing up at the hospital. If she understood that her actions cost her a relationship with her granddaughter. Mostly, though, I was too busy being happy to care. I had Maya, and my husband, and Sophia, and Olivia, and David. I had people who showed up and stayed. I built the family I always wanted, and my mother wasn't part of it. That was her loss, not mine. This story still gives me chills to retell. What do you think about drawing such firm lines with family, even when it means cutting them out? Did I do the right thing to protect my peace and my daughter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.